latest in the series of New Age business briefings brought to you by the SABC and today sponsored by Transnet. And we're talking to the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, newly appointed actually, and that's the Honourable Senzeni Zokwana. We heard from him just before the break about the bold plans that came through in his budget vote speech last week, and he says that we are ready, we are prepared, and we're now going to get the job done. And he wants to have conversations with you, wherever you may be, about making sure that the right things get done. Well, it's now time to take this conversation further as we start to hear from you at home and also from the audience that we have here. We go straight to table number 22, where we'll find Roderick Dumini from USAAA.
Good morning, my name is Roderick Dumini. I'm from a farmers organization called the United South African Agricultural Association. Mr. Minister, my question to you, first of all, it's an honor and a privilege to be here this morning and to speak to you. Speaking from a farmers organization, the biggest challenge that we have, sir, is land, and arable land. I'm coming from the Overberg, where our land is highly expensive. We pay up to 50,000 Rand per hectare. As our minister, we seek your assistance to assist black farmers to get access to arable land that we can be successful grain farmers, which we are already. We need your assistance. I thank you, sir.
Okay, so Minister, access to land. And I guess land reform is part of this whole conversation. So we've got different departments doing different things. You know how to farm and how to, but the people running land reform, are they giving you the right pieces of land?
We have just met last week, agreed that the two departments have to work together to ensure that land is made available. And there's one option I think we need to explore, whether a farmer must buy a farm if he wants to farm, or whether there should be land leasing so that people can access land without having to buy it. We're busy on that. I'm sure many people are shocked when the minister made the drastic proposals. Those are only proposals. I think engagement is now. We won't leave farmers alone in the process. We will be with you. We'll engage that ministry and say to them, make sure that if there's land available that can be rented to people, and of course, renters that to make them to make a profit. I agree with you. If there's no land available, you are compelled to have a number of cattle informed by the number of pastures you are having. So if you have no land, you can't be able to expand your stock, even if the conditions are allowed. We'll take the matter up. We're meeting with the Ministry of Land Reform, and we're saying this, that that's not on, say, I agree with you. If you want to buy a farm over 1,000 hectares, you pay big, and you don't have access maybe to a bank loan. But I think together with you, because the more farmers will come on board, the more jobs to be created, the more ability to feed our country, the more we can penetrate the markets. The game at this time in our department is cooperation with other departments, Department of Land Affairs, Department of Science and Technology, because to enhance our ability to do a well-informed research, we need partners. So I take your hand, sir.
So how
call us very soon. We can meet and see in your area what can be done. Is land available? How do we assist you?
How are you going to overcome this expense? Because land costs what it costs.
As I said, that the other way to deal with that is to say that if you cannot be able to buy a farm, but you want to farm, we can look at the state leasing land to those farmers who wants to farm.
So you buy the land?
Yes, than buying the land out. Okay. And I know that we have said to the ministry, go out and make sure that we know where there are state farms that are owned by the government and make them accessible, especially to those entrepreneurs who are black who are coming on board, that they are not compelled to go through banks. Even before you start to buy your cattle, we've already spent all your money. You are indebted before you even start farming.
Okay. Table 25, is that John Robertson? You're going to have to help us with the surname. Table number 25, yes?
Thank you very much. It's John Robertson. I'm a commercial farmer from Mossel Bay and also a director of SSK. Mr. Minister, thank you very much for the opportunity to address a question to you this morning. In your reply to the first question, you have gone far in answering my own question. My question to you this morning is, how do you propose to address the new uncertainty created in commercial agriculture by the proposals of your colleague, Minister McQuinty, in terms of land tenure? Thank you very much.
Okay, so land tenure is a big issue, and it's not just this commercial story, but women who've traditionally been left out of the equation is a big issue.
I agree with you, Mr. Robertson, and we have been engaging with the department through the economic cluster. We need to clarify that to make sure that people can be engaged. But it is a call for business people, for those in the industry, to engage the minister. I agree with you. If you are not sure whether your farm will still be yours next year, you may not be able to feel strong to put more money in expanding your farm, improving its conditions. We're engaging into that. Hence I said we must make sure that farmers who own farms, who are in business, don't disappoint those who rely upon them, because employment is key. And I would be happy if no farmer is thinking about cutting his labor because he fears losing land if those workers get that land. We will be engaging. I can promise you one thing, it will be part of the process going forward.
Sam Flatella sent a tweet saying, Peter, what is the department doing with black farmers that are not utilizing the land to farm? So we've got land reform, we've got farms being handed out. In a country that food insecurity is an issue, I would imagine that productivity must be something that is on your agenda.
Deputy Minister, when you feel like coming in, just make me sure we're together in this, so I'm not alone. But nonetheless, let me say that we have debated the matter in question. That's why when we met last week, we said to the Department of Land Reform, please don't decide to hand out any farm without our department knowing, so that at the time the farm is handed over, our officials, our expertise, all that, depending on what farm it is, were able to assist. The gap exists when people are given a farm. None of them has done farming before. There is no state assistance. We need to make sure that when that is happening, we don't create a situation where a farm was given out to people at its prime. Because of there are no expertise, that farm goes unworked. It is a shame. I don't think it addresses the need to make sure that there's more productivity. People feel that farming is a business, plop out of being in. So what we're doing, therefore, is this, that our extension officers, together with our departments, will make sure that we visit those areas. What those farmers need is only to make a call. And if it is in Limpopo, we'll make sure that it is done. This morning I was speaking to Dr. Msecha, who is also here, to say, I am willing to go and visit that area together with the Deputy Minister to hear what is the plight of those black farm workers, those farmers who are not able to participate into farming because of a number of conditions. So we're aware of those problems, and we believe that they can be taken care of.
All right. Michael Peter is on table 18.
Can we allow the Deputy Minister to...
Oh, okay. Deputy Minister.
Morning, Peter, and everybody. Just a few things. I don't want to walk the path the Minister has walked, but basically three things, Peter. Food, employment, and GDP. That's an order on this department. But coming to the questions, this uncertainty that has been raised, you remember that the President has just signed, again, the law opening the new
land claims.
But this is a question for everybody to answer. Established farmers must also help us to find the way going forward. About 35,000 farmers, established farmers, they are having about 82 million hectares of South Africa, which means we must work together on this. In legal ways, finding the way forward, no breaking of the law, nothing. But it cannot come from one side. How do we find answer going forward? Because the new farmers will have to enter in the land that exists. There is no new land that is manufactured somewhere. The land is there, and we must make sure that we together we get on that one. The question of the land that has been returned but not worked, the minister sent me to Mpende last week. You listen to people, you are lucky to get this festival of ideas and you find a way forward out of it. One thing that they are raising very sharp is that people are not trained when this land is returned to them. That's one. Which means we need to do a lot of training, because originally people have not been farming. They've been pushed out there. They've been sitting there and looking as audience rather than participating. So that's one. Two, the established farmers must also help us to mentor those new people that have come in farming. In short, it should be for all of us to be part of going forward. Especially if we're going to dent the unemployment, the youth must be a big portion coming on this. Social mobilization, youth mobilization. One is just glad that already there are 2 national youth formations that are leading on agriculture. But they must be mentored, they must be helped with resources, with knowledge, with skills going forward. But we are very hopeful that things are going to be fine, but all of us, we must be part of it.
Deputy Minister, we're 20 years down the line now. A lot of these issues should have been dealt with by now, shouldn't they have?
Peter, we are sitting here in Cape Town. Somebody came here in 1652. And this process we are reversing started in 1652. 20 years in 1652? People must give time and due where it's supposed to. I hear people talking about 20 years, 20 years. We are dealing with the legacy of 1652, April on 6th, that somebody came here. And they push everybody out in terms of skills, in terms of love, in terms of passion. We were all pushed out of the land. So we are trying to reverse that. Surely, 20 years would not be enough. I haven't heard anybody saying, you have done so much in 20 years. Indeed, we have. And that must be appreciated, which does not mean that we shouldn't move fast. We still have to move faster. 20 years, trying to undo 300 years, and people of South Africa coming on board, black and white, young and old, especially young and women. So we'll get there. Radical it is. You have asked the question, what does it mean? It means that everybody gets on bus and we all drive together going to the new South Africa and changing the history that has been created since 1652, 6th April.
Okay. All right. Michael Peter is on table 18.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning to the Minister and Deputy Minister, and congratulations on your appointments. Minister, we really appreciated your and Deputy Minister Cele's address to Parliament last week in the budget vote, because you made reference to forestry. And I think Peter made the point earlier on that very often we're like the stepchild. So the question really, and we appreciate you haven't been in the position very long, but the question is, what are you doing to address what are you planning to address the decline of the industry? This is a 42 billion rand a year industry. Forestry South Africa, my organization, represents small, medium and large growers in the country. We have 20,000 small-scale growers in Deputy Minister Cele's province of KwaZulu-Natal. We've been trying with the assistance of your department for the past 10 years to get new entrants into the Eastern Cape through new afforestation. What other plans does your department have to help industry ensure that it reverses the decline? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I'm sure we will share this debate. The DDG of the department is here. But as a department, we are aware of the problems to make sure that new forests are being planted. That's why we believe that we'll only win by making sure that communities closer to the forest also participate. But we need to build a bigger cake to ensure that communities can not only watch when business is being happening, they need to participate. But that must not kill the industry going forward. Planting of new forests is one challenge to ensure that we expand and make sure that those who are already in the business are assistance. One of our tasks is to make sure that we assist you to find the markets. We assist you through the Department of DTI so that whatever may be a blockage to you to make sure that you are able to reach those markets, we do that. But I can assure you, we want to hear your voice. We want you part of the program going forward. We cannot do it alone. We need you. But I agree with you, there are challenges in the forest. I can assure you, of the 3 sectors in our department, we are all equal. We don't regard farmers who breed cattle because we like meat. They're important than those who fish. All of you are together. But I can assure you, therefore, that I don't know if the DG wants to say something on this matter. Dr. Mtabisi, Dr. Mtete.
Where's DG? Table?
There's a sister on.
Okay, all right. The microphone is coming through to you.
In as far as assisting forestry to grow.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the opportunity. I think Minister and Deputy Minister are actually driving a very viable program as far as the department is concerned on transformation of the forestry sector. The department has in place the Forest Sector Transformation Charter that, obviously with the assistance of the DTI, as the Honourable Minister has indicated, is providing specific support for small scale foresters in terms of them accessing new afforestation opportunities. And also the proposed handover of community, state forest to community and tribal authorities in KZN. And we will continue to share more of these plans with the sector going forward. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. And also, those for the next year, we will be hosting the 14th World Forestry Congress, the first of its nature to be held in Africa. It is a forum for all of us to participate, to check how we can grow the industry, how can we be able to meet the needs of those who rely upon us. So we're part of us. Never feel like a stepchild. You are not.
Minister, one area that I know that you know quite well, we've just seen the mining sector go through very deep labor issues. We had a hint in the agriculture sector not so long ago. And I just wonder, because a lot of the issues are quite similar, accommodation, pay, that kind of thing. How are you going to stem that before it becomes this tsunami that we saw in mining?
Yes, I think that the media is powerful. A week being in office, I was compelled to behave like a farmer by paying my own employee equal to what farm workers are paid. That guy is earning 2,400. Sitting in a village, staying in my own house. If farmers can treat their own employees as valuable assets at their disposal. But one key thing I think employers should dream of doing is to form organizations through which they can negotiate. Because the task of negotiating as an individual opens you up because you can be compelled, therefore, to compete on wages. But when you form an organization of farmers and you agree that you will be negotiating so that it is not the Ministry of Labour who sets the minimum wage. You are participating in that. Yes, I agree. If we don't address the issues of conditions of living of farm workers, to make sure that those workers feel comfortable in being in those farms, we will find that now and again we're visited by problems. But one key thing I think trade unionists must be saying and be doing is this, that it is fine and cool to go on strike, but the right of others must be respected. Usage of violence cannot answer the problem, because even beyond the strike, you still need that employee, you still need that place you are working in. So being destructive does not answer the problem. And I hope that the dialogue will take place, as you say, how do we prevent another Dedoran situation where farming is put into a standstill. But I believe that when we create platforms for negotiations, we can be able to find each other. And that is the challenge I think farming has to be faced with. I cannot tell them what to do. I can only advise, because I spent half of my life in the mining industry. I know how tough it is. But when you open forums for negotiations, you open a room for understanding.
All right, so we're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue to unpack that. We haven't even spoken about fisheries yet, but that's another big area. So perhaps if you've got questions around that, please raise those. We'll be with you again right after this. Stay with us.